Alright everyone, the buck stops here. Now, it seems Coach Shroom really isn't taking this seriously. He's brought the mascot pick again. Let's punish him for it. This is where Coach Shroom's rebellion ends. The consortium has paid a lot of money to make sure it happens this way. So let's get to work.
Hello everyone, Shroomraver here, and welcome to the final game of PPL NX Stage 1. Yes, we have reached the finals of the Bronze/Losers division. And very exciting game, been looking forward to this one for a while. We are taking on none other than Elly and the Shanghai Dreigons. Her links down in the description below. Make sure you check her out. She is just one of my best friends in the world. Love her to pieces. Always enjoy our battles. We've had dozens of them over the many years that we've known each other. And she's been using a very threatening team very well indeed. She can choose from Baxcalibur, Landorus Therian, Ogerpon Cornerstone, Tentacruel, Klefki, Galarian Zapdos, Mesprit, Regieleki, Spiritomb, Dunsparce, Magmar, and Illumise. She's been using, as I say, this team incredibly well, going against all the fraud allegations of Baxcalibur because she knows that you just slap a choice band on it and you click buttons. And that's not the only thing that she can just click buttons with. She's got a lot of powerful offense going on this team and some dangerous setup stuff too with some shenanigans that she could be bringing. So, we are starting off our team with an offensive Choppleberry Iron Treads with max attack Jolly, 208 in speed to be outrunning the Galarian Zapdos. Earthquake, Iron Head, Ice Spinner and Rapid Spin on there. Chopple to take those rogue fighting hits. Could take a close combat from Zapdos with that. Low kicks and stuff like that going on. We can tank those hits and try and get some big damage with Treads to break. For potentially an endgame thing with enough chip damage on stuff, we have a bit of a surprise set with Choice Scarfed Primarina. Post-editing Dave here, very briefly. That's right, Chaos. I did it. I brought Scarfed Primarina. You're welcome. 228 in speed is outpacing, I think, everything that isn't Scarfed. And we have Moonblast, Hydro Pump, Psychic, and Perish Song. Perish Song could be useful for like a Swords Dance Max or Swords Dance many things, really. There's a lot of things that this thing can come in on when I'm in a risky position and just make sure they can't do any more damage. Moonblast is pretty spammable. We have Psychic there basically for the Tentacruel. And Hydro Pump is just good coverage as well. Next up, we have pretty much our sweaty tryhard set of the team. This is Lights, Clay, Dual Screens, Mesprit. Very physically defensive with some nominal speed investment. Outside of the screens, we have Mystical Power Draining Kiss. Once we get a good amount of chip damage onto the likes of the Mesprit, the Klefki, and possibly even a bulky Magmar or Dunsparce, barring any Encore shenanigans, this thing can just win. Setting up the special attack with Mystical Power and getting health back with Draining Kiss would be delicious. Fourth member of the team is our dedicated lead. This is going to be a Focus Sash to Dunsparce with Stealth Rock. We are max special attack modest, and we are packing Boom Burst, Earth Power, and Ice Beam. Mamoswine coverage, as we know, is excellent, and Boom Burst just hits really hard. So that is the Dunsparce. Then we have fully physically defensive Citrus Berry Persimmon. Persimmon worked out well in the last game against Nova. This is fully Fizz Def as a cope switch in to bang with Baxcalibur. We have Drain Punch, Acrobatics, Earthquake, and Knockoff. Acrobatics going to be useful for the likes of the Galarian Zapdos. Once we get our Citrus Berry propped, we can be firing off good hits with that. Drain Punch to keep us healthy, and the other moves are the other moves. Now, this is the battle against Elly. It may be a final, but it's still a battle against a good friend, and we did decide we were going to do a little bit of memery, as we are wont to do, so Bonsly's here! Yes, we're bringing Bonsly again, because why not? Custap Berry Bonsly, max attack, adamant, max special defense, and there is method to my madness here, because Elly's team outside of the Klefki does not have great switch-ins to rock type. So we're going Defense Curl Rollout, because that could actually put in a good amount of work. Foul Play on there as sort of a good answer to a lot of her physical offense, and we do have Copycat, mostly because we're playing Elly, and we like doing that. But also, fun fact, if that Baxcalibur is banded and locked into Glaive Rush, Copycat Glaive Rush just OHKOs it. It just does, which I think is fun. So that's what we're doing, we're running Bonsly, because why the heck not? But that is the team we are going into this battle with. Let's get over to the battle screen and see what Elly has decided to bring against us. So, as you can see, Elly has decided to bring Magmar, Galarian Zapdos, Mesprit, Landorus Therian, Baxcalibur and Tentacruel. Elly is giving a debut to Magmar, which is cool. Love to see that. Hoping that it's Belly Drum, just because that would be fun. Now, I don't have great switch-ins to the Gyarados, so I'm kind of thinking that might be her lead, but she's got a fair few leads that she could go with. There's no Encore shenanigans going on, there's no Prankster. On the, what's it called, the Illumise, there's no Ogerpon Cornerstone. So I'm going to lead with my dedicated Dunsparce and see if we can get rocks up or damage something off rip. So here we go with the finals of our division against Elly and the Shanghai Dreigons. There she is. She is going to be leading with the Galarian Zapdos. I'm going to be going with the Dunsparce. Now, I am sashed. I'll live any hit. The fighting move is probably going to be too tempting for her not to click. If it's close combat and she gets the drops in special defense, Boom Burst is actually a very, very favorable role for us to just straight up OHKO her. And it will always do more than Ice Beam. So, not wanting to waste a Dunsparce just to get rocks up, I am just going to click Boom Burst and see if we can't maybe take an immediate 6-5 lead. So, in is going to come the close combat. That is, of course, going to take us down to our Focus Sash, and now that Gyarados is going to be at that -1 special defense, looking like it could well be just a lead Scarf set. I'm going to go for the Boom Burst, and that is turn 1 going to clean out the Gyarados. Big threat on my opponent's team, gone immediately. We don't get rocks up, but you know, there is a Tentacruel that can spin. It would be nice for the Magmar and for the Baxcalibur, but in comes the Tentacruel itself. Now, the Dunsparce is pretty much not outspeeding anything on my opponent's team outside of some stupid bulky stuff. So I am just going to stay in here and see if maybe she wants to set up T-Spikes. If that's the case, we can spin them away and maybe try and get either some damage or some rocks up. But Elly is going to claim her Rapid Spin kill, which we respect in this house. Down goes the Dunsparce. I did click Boom Burst just in case she wanted to set up the T-Spikes, but she's going to claim her kill with Rapid Spin. Now, I have a fair few things that I can go into here. I haven't got any information on the Tentacruel set, so going into my Iron Treads is not necessarily the best play here. I consider the Bonsly for a little bit, but being realistic, Mesprit is always going to be the best option I have to go into here and directly threaten this Tentacruel. So Mesprit is going to be the thing that I go into, as seagulls make all the noise outside of my window. Expecting just a flip turn probably to come in here, wanted to get on out of dodge and definitely outspeeding me. And it is going to be the flip turn that Elly goes for. I have clicked Mystical Power. There is no Dark type here to resist that or be immune to it. In fact, the only thing that resists it is her own Mesprit, and if I can get ahead of the game in terms of setup, then we'll be in a very good position indeed. Looking at her team, there is a lot of physical threats. I'm kind of anticipating the Lando to be a special set to get around some of my physically defensive monsters. But we're going to see what she goes into here. We're going to be guaranteed to get up to +1 off the back of the Mystical Fire. Sorry, not Mystical Fire. Mystical Power, I should say. And realistically, we're going to have to see what her play is to take the hit best. And it's going to be the incredibly named Backshot Barry, that is the Baxcalibur. The Mystical Power does not do a whole huge amount of damage here, showing that this is definitely a bulky build, which is a very fair bring. Now, I do want to try and get ahead of this Bax. If it's banded, we will take whatever hit they're going to go for. I'm just going to set up a Reflect to better suit a potential Primarina switch in, tank a hit, and start firing off Moonblasts. Now, we are actually going to outspeed here, so this is a very low speed Baxcalibur. We're going to get the Reflect off In comes the Icicle Crash. As you see, that's doing under 100 points of damage, but that still could very well be banded. But with it not doing a massive amount of damage, Draining Kiss is looking pretty free. Now, this is a bulky bat, so it's certainly not going to OHKO by any stretch of the imagination, but it would be nice to get that Draining Kiss recovery and put Mesprit at a much better range of health. And then she outspeeds, because it's a speed tie of all things. My Mesprit speed ties with Elly's Baxcalibur, which is crazy, not expected in the slightest. But that Draining Kiss is going to get us back to a really nice range of health, and the Baxcalibur is now at under half. I have no real reason not to go for the Draining Kiss. If the Magmar wants to come in, so be it. We will then just start spamming Mystical Power and try and weaken that thing down and gauge what set we're working with. The Bax is going to get on out of there. Elly does not want to risk taking any more damage on it, especially given that it's a speed tie, and it is going to be... I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it. I will not do it. Fine, it's the Magmussy. Are you happy now, Elly? It takes nothing from a Draining Kiss, and we do get the Flame Body Burn. That's unfortunate, but it is not going to affect our damage output. At this point, I do just want to start spamming Mystical Power and weaken this thing down. If it is a Belly Drum set, I cannot really let that happen, because it could do incredibly nasty things to me. So I am just going to start clicking Mystical Power and try and chunk down this Magmar. Now Magmar's going to outspeed, go for Flare Blitz, and even through the Reflect, that does a lot of damage! Because not only is it a debut of Magmar, it's Choice Banded Magmar, which is very fun indeed. Big fan of that set, but the +1 Mystical Power puts us up to +2 and is a clean 2-hit KO on Magmar from that range. I am just going to click it again. I see no real reason not to, and I don't think that Elly is going to want to save this Magmar particularly. So I am just going to go for the Mystical Power, try and take it out, and hope to tank another Flare Blitz. So, the second Flare Blitz is going to come in, and we are just about going to live on 10 HP thanks to that Reflect we have a few turns left of. We're going to go for the Mystical Power, and that is indeed going to take out the Magmar. So down goes the Magmar, which is really, really nice, but it also means, because of the burn from the Flame Body, that Mesprit is going to go down too. So it is a double down. Mesprit and Magmar are going to take each other out. We're going to have to play the rest of this game as a 4v4. So, Elly is going to send out her own Mesprit, as I am just going to go into my Primarina. Now, obviously the Tentacruel is still around, but I have had a bit of an odd offensive Mesprit set of my own. I can't really take the risk of Elly doing the same thing. So what I'm going to do is, at the risk of revealing my Choice Scarf, I am just going to click Moonblast. If the Tentacruel comes in, so be it. But it's only revealed Rapid Spin and Flip Turn. It could be more of a supporting set. So I feel fairly comfortable, if the Tentacruel comes in, of just going into my Persimmon. And as you'll see, that's exactly the plays that are going to be made here. Elly going to get out of there with Mesprit and go into the Tentacruel, which is going to take this Moonblast, no problem whatsoever. No special attack drops because we didn't bring Serene Grace this week. Shout out to the match against the Don Fanatic. But yes, I'm locked in, there's nothing I can do. And so I am going to go into my Persimmon. If this thing is packing like the Sludge Wave, if it's certainly a bulky build of Tentacruel, it shouldn't be 2-hit KOing me, even though I'm physically defensive, not specially defensive. So, I am going to make that sequence. I'm going to get out of there with Prim, needing it for the remaining 3 members of Elly's team for sure. And I'm going to go into my Fizz Def Persimmon, as in comes Gunk Shot, and it is going to miss. That's unfortunate. We never like to see misses happen, but realistically, it wouldn't have done all that much damage. This is looking like a physically offensive Tentacruel in some way, shape or form, but I'm quite happy to just stay in here and click Knock Off, thinking that she's going to want to potentially Flip Turn out into the Mesprit.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was a bad start, but I think we're going to be on the right track now. We're sending in the heavy hitter. Understood. Alright. You know what it's time for. Setup may not have worked in the past, but it's gonna work now, damn it.
And as you'll see, that is what is going to happen. Out goes the Tentacruel, hard out into the Mesprit, which we're going to catch with a big knockoff and do about 40%, which I was super happy about, until I saw this. It's Weakness Policy Mesprit. And I don't know why I didn't expect it. The first Mesprit I bought in this entire league was a Weakness Policy Mesprit. And now I am concerned. Very concerned indeed. But I'm pretty sure that the Psychic move is going to be incoming, and honestly my best thing to take that on is going to be my Iron Treads. So I'm going to make my play into Iron Treads and try and scout this Mesprit out. So we're going to call back Persimmon, like I say, keep it at full health for the likes of the Lando and the Bax. We are going to go into Iron Treads as in comes Zen Headbutt. And I don't know why I didn't anticipate that, because the Weakness Policy Mesprit I brought was also physical. But this is now a problem. I do have a Troupple Berry, which is fine, because it means I'll take the Drain Punch that she's bound to have, but she's going to get back so much health, and Iron Head just won't be doing enough damage. Mesprit is very, very tanky, and Weakness Policy Mesprit could be even more so. So what I'm going to be doing here is trying to play around a now incoming Drain Punch on a +2 Mesprit. What I'm going to do is make the double into my Primarina, back into it, tank the Drain Punch, go for big chip damage with a Moonblast, and then try and work from there. So, out goes Iron Treads, having taken that Zen Headbutt, and in is going to come the Primarina, anticipating the Drain Punch, and that is exactly what comes in. It does a good amount of damage to my Primarina. Now, I was considering going for the Perish Song here, but that's going to take its time, and by that time, this Mesprit could have cleaned out most of the rest of my team, so it's not an option. In order to best save my own numbers, what I have to do here is go for damage, and then try and revenge with my Iron Treads. And I can't risk Hydro Pump missing, because then she'll just be at too much health and I'll have to sack even more. So what I have to do here is go for Moonblast for that guaranteed, like, 50-ish, hopefully, %, and then try and revenge this Mesprit with my Iron Treads. So here it comes. Moonblast gonna come in and do, like I say, about a clean 50-ish %. In comes the Zen Headbutt. That is, of course, going to take out my Primarina, but with any luck, we have put this Mesprit in range of my Iron Treads' Iron Head. So that is the play I'm going to make. Back in comes Iron Treads, and once again, I'm going to need Iron Treads to come good here and try and prevent a very dangerous sweep against me. Iron Head is going to be the play. Looking at the amount of health, this should be enough, and thankfully it is. Dangerous Weakness Policy Mesprit goes down. Iron Treads is in at a good amount of health, and we've saved as many members of our team as we can. But there's more threats to come, because now in comes the Landorus. It's going to get the Intimidate, so an Ice Spinner will certainly not be taking it out from this range, and honestly, my best play here is to go into the Persimmon. Once again, I am expecting it to be specially offensive, but even if it is, we still should be okay not to be too short, and if it's physical, so much the better. So, once again, going to pull my Iron Treads on back, because it can do a good amount of work, especially if this thing is not Choice Scarf. We're going to go into Persimmon to try and find out. In comes the Earthquake, but because we're very physically offensive, that is not a two-shot. Now, my main thing here is go for the knockoff. Nothing on Elly's team particularly wants to lose its item here, and if this thing is Scarfed, I need to get rid of that for the Ice Spinner from Treads to be able to take it out. So, knockoff is going to be the move of choice here, as in comes Stealth Rock. So, good knowledge that this thing is not Scarfed. We now know we outspeed with Iron Treads, and we're going to go for the knockoff, which is even better because we're going to get rid of a Yachi Berry. That could have been really handy for Elly against my Ice Spinner, but now that is gone, and this Landorus should be in range to go down to that Ice Spinner. What I'm going to do here is just keep going for attacks. There's nothing I really want to switch in on the Landorus. And rocks are up as well, which unfortunately means Sturdy is broken on Bonsly, which is more of a problem than it should ever really be. So Landorus is going to U-turn on out of there and do approximately 7 points of damage to Persimmon, but now something has to take a knockoff, and it's either going to be the Baxcalibur, which is not coming in, or this, which is of course the Tentacruel. Now, good damage on this is very nice. Knockoff's going to come in, and that is going to get rid of the Assault Vest. Now, we're still at a very good range of health, and this thing is looking like, as I say, a physical attacker. My best option here is to just stay in, click Earthquake, and try and claim a kill for the Simian. So in comes the Gunk Shot. Elly is going to hit, and that is going to do not a whole huge amount. She is going to get the poison, which is unfortunate for us. But it's looking like that Gunk Shot miss isn't going to matter in terms of the damage output, because we still might have lived on a smidgen. Citrus Berry is going to take us back to a good amount of health. We are going to go for the Earthquake, and we are going to pick up the KO on Tentacle. So down that thing goes. And now it's 3v2. But my two main hitters are at half health. The Bax is just under half, and the Landorus is around 75-ish%. Now she can't go into Landorus here, because there's no guarantee she takes me out, and she would give me a Defiant boost, which would be death to her team. So what Elly is going to have to do here is go into the Baxcalibur and try and claim a kill with probably Icicle Crash or Glade Rush. So, in is going to come the Baxcalibur. Now, Drain Punch will take it out. It all really depends on whether we can live a hit or not. Icicle Crash is looking like it'll be her play, especially if she's Choice Banded. She's not going to want to lock in on Glade Rush with my Iron Treads around. I kind of have to just stay in here and click the Drain Punch, hope we can live a hit. In comes the Icicle Crash, and unfortunately we are not going to live that one. Down goes the Simian, but it's done a really good defensive job here once again. And now it's 2v2, and I'm going to tell you, I considered it. I did consider going Bonsly here. As you'll see, I was hovering, but it is not worth it. It really isn't worth it at this point to go Bonsly, because my Sturdy is broken, and that will just be a free kill for Bax. What I have to do here is go into my Iron Treads and just click Iron Head. So that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into my Treads. Now, we know that this Baxcalibur is not Choice Scarfed because of the Mesprit matchup earlier on. What I can do here is just go for Iron Head. If she goes into the Lando to try and get an Intimidate, Iron Head into Ice Spinner should be enough, even at -1, to take that thing out. So realistically, she kind of has to just stay in and take her chances with Lando trying to endgame this. I really considered going for Spin just in case, but the Bax is too much of a threat. If it is able to take out Treads, then I will not win this game. So I'm just going to stay in and click Iron Head, and as you see, that's going to come in and take out the Baxcalibur. Down that thing goes, and now it's 2v1, but that 1 is Landorus Therian. So, in comes said Landorus Therian. Elly is going to get the Intimidate here, and I was really weighing up my plays. That thing is at quite a good amount of health. There is the chance that I could spin, sack my Treads, and then go Bonsly and try and get 2 foul plays off, but if this thing is physically defensive, then that's not necessarily going to work. My real play here was to go into Bonsly, my heart breaks to say it, sack it, reset the Intimidate, come back in with my Iron Treads. I take a really big risk here though, that this is going to be an offensive build. I'm going to stay in and click Ice Spinner. If this doesn't kill, then we're going to be in a real pickle. So making arguably the wrong play, I stay in an Ice Spinner, and thankfully it is an offensive Landorus, and that is going to be enough to take it out. Down it goes, Iron Treads cleans up, and that is going to be the game.
Shit. Yes, sir. The mission was a failure. Yeah, Yes, sir. Alright, everyone. Let's wrap it up. We're moving on.
So, we take a 2-0 win over Elly, and, ladies and gentlemen, we are able to win this playoff finals match in the Bronze Division of PPL NX. We did it! We actually got a win. Does it count as a championship? I don't know. I don't really think so. It is the lowest division. So does it count as a championship? I'm not sure. But if so, we'll take it as such. We do manage to get that win. Despite the fact that I made completely the wrong play. I was far too invested in keeping Bonsly alive. Because why wouldn't I? But yeah, it was a very hard fought game. Wasn't, I don't think, too much hacks going on there. I mean, the Boom Burst on Gyarados was a roll very much in my favour, and I don't think the Gunk Shot miss mattered all that much. I think we still would have lived on the Sliver. So yeah, it was good to see not too much of a hacksy game per se, and there was a lot of back and forth, you know. Both of our Mesprits were able to put in a good amount of work. Yeah, it was anybody's game right up until the end, where I made a wrong play and was not punished, thankfully. But we do win this game and we win the division, so yay. What does this mean? Well, it means that PPL NX Stage 1 is over, and now we move into Stage 2, which is going to run exactly the same way as Stage 1, but for two differences. One, the initial groups are different, and two, it is low tier Terra. Now, I'm sure I'll go into more rules when those videos come out, which will be sometime later this month, I think, or maybe early next month. I'm not entirely sure. But either way, we are in a very good spot. There are obviously 48 competitors in this league, and with the points system that was going on, after claiming a win here, that actually puts us in points tally, I believe, in 16th, which is like the very bottom of the top bracket of points, which is crazy, given the start we had. But yeah, that's the end of PPL NX Stage 1. Please look forward to PPL NX Stage 2. Like I say, that'll be going up within like a few weeks' time, I would imagine. The draft has already started to happen. I'm very excited for it. In the meantime, of course, please go down in the description, click on the link you'll find there to Elly's channel. Like I've said, she is one of just my best friends in the world. Her content is fantastic. She is hilarious. And she is a much better player than she sometimes gives herself credit for. She just won her own first championship in this generation, which was an amazing achievement. Couldn't be more proud of her for doing so, and she deserves all of the love in the world. So go and give it to her. Go over to her channel, tell her I sent you, and marvel at her hilarity and her just complete degenerate nicknaming. Love you, Elly. You're fantastic. But yes, I'm going to get out of here. That's going to be it from me. I've rambled on for far too long. So my final thank you to you all for watching. And I guess with that, I'll see you next time. Laters.